Join me today as I fess up about my love for trashy books. And I hope to give you all the justification you need to just read whatever entertains you. Welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where a father and son talk about fantasy, science fiction, horror, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. I'm Jim, the father of this channel, and I'm glad you're here with me today as I speak about a topic near and dear to my heart. If you enjoy what I have to share today, be sure to let me know. Give us that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Take a look around. We got a lot of stuff here for you to enjoy. I have come to a realization about something recently. I like a lot of trashy books. I'm talking about the sort of books that aren't doing anything profound whatsoever. They don't get critical acclaim, they receive no award nominations, they don't even try to be literary works of art. They simply seek to entertain the reader with a story. And some trashy books won't even try to claim these are good stories. They leave that for the reader to decide. Here on BookTube, you'll hear plenty about the best books, the ones everyone should read, with deep themes and culturally significant topics and characters. And I have nothing against such books. I've read a ton of such books. But sometimes I just want to relax and enjoy a book that I don't have to think very hard about. Enter the trashy novel. It exists for pure entertainment, nothing more. My friend Eric, actually, unintentionally, has helped me better understand this about myself. See, Eric likes a lot of the same kind of books that I do, but he's also an author. So his filter when he reads is the quality of the prose, the structure of the novel, the well defined characters, and dialogue that flows sensibly and with meaning. He has little time for trash. And some of the books I've most enjoyed, he cannot stand. I don't think Eric can stomach trashy books. Or maybe his trash looks different from mine. That's all. It's something I guess I need to discuss with him a little more. But I'm here today to tell you trashy books are not a guilty pleasure. They are a legitimate source of reading satisfaction. They accomplish some of the best goals of reading: recreation, escapism, stress relief, all without making your brain ache as you try to process the deep themes, heady content, complex prose, like you'll get from some incredible authors: Gene Wolfe, Stephen Erickson, China Muleville. Here are some recommendations for trashy books that I have thoroughly enjoyed, that you may want to explore for yourself. But let me make something very clear here. These books are not trash. They are creative works of authors who have put word to page to create something new, and we get the chance to discover and enjoy them. Trashy is merely the term to set them apart from the more highbrow types of literature that get all of the critical acclaim. These books are not going for that. These have a different purpose. And I definitely love many of these trashy books. I'm going to bring them to you now, 13 trashy books that I've enjoyed that you might want to give a look at. I'm putting them into 3 different categories. First off, the mildly trashy books. These are well written with strong fan bases, but they're still pulpy, trope heavy, or melodramatic in flavor. First, The Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. This is an urban fantasy series, supernatural noir. First book, Stormfront, came out in 2000. There's 17 books now in this ongoing series. There's also a number of short stories and novellas. The plan is like 25 or so books by the time Jim Butcher is done. A Chicago-based wizard private investigator battles magical threats while juggling moral dilemmas and emotional baggage. Why it's trashy? Well, it's fast-paced, quip-heavy, and filled with noir tropes, supernatural babes, and magical explosions. It's popcorn fantasy at its finest. Next, the Shannara series by Terry Brooks. This is epic fantasy The first book in the series being The Sword of Shannara, coming out all the way back in 1977. This is an ongoing series still. There's over 33 books across multiple sub-series, trilogies, quartets, etc. Generations of heroes wield ancient magic to combat evil in a post-apocalyptic world disguised as high fantasy. Why is this one trashy? Well, it's derivative of Tolkien, emotionally overwrought, and occasionally soap operatic, but it's endlessly readable and nostalgic. Next up, the Helldivers series by Nicholas Sansbury Smith, a post-apocalyptic military sci-fi series. First book, Helldivers, came out in 2016. The series is 12 core books and now additional books being written to kind of fill in the gaps and add more color to the series as a whole. This is about sky-dwelling commandos who dive into Earth's irradiated ruins to scavenge, survive, and save humanity. Why is this one trashy? Well, pure adrenaline, macho posturing, mutant monsters, and a near total lack of subtlety. Then I bring to you The Walking Dead, complete comic series by Robert Kirkman. This is graphic horror and post-apocalyptic. The first issue came out in 2003, and there are 193 issues in total. A gritty survival epic that explores humanity's collapse through the eyes of morally challenged survivors. And there's zombies. Why is this trashy? Well, extreme violence, soap opera plotting, and bleakness dialed to 11, but grippingly executed. Finally, The Remaining by DJ Molay. This is military sci-fi, again of a post-apocalyptic bent, somewhat related to the zombie apocalypse subgenre. First book came out in 2012. There are 6 main books in this core series of The Remaining, but then there are spin-offs that take you further along. A special forces operative must carry out his doomsday mission after society collapses. Why is this one trashy? High-octane survivalist fantasy with tons of guns, testosterone, and apocalypse cliches. All right, moving on, we enter the gloriously trashy segment of my suggestions. Big fun, heavy drama, wild tropes, and unashamed pulp energy. These books own their trashiness. First up here is the Zombie Fallout series by Mark Tufo. This is zombie horror, all in post-apocalyptic writing. First book came out in 2010. The series is still being written. There's 24 books in the main series, plus a 25th coming out this month that might be the end. I'm not sure. Kind of has a look to it. And then there are numerous spin-offs that come out of this series. A sarcastic ex-Marine fights to protect his family in a zombie-infested world full of humor, horror, and mayhem. Why is it trashy? Over-the-top action, crass humor, and a protagonist who never stops wisecracking, even in the middle of the apocalypse. Then I bring you the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. Some of you were surprised I'm bringing this one in here. Epic fantasy series, first book, Wizard's First Rule, came out in 1994. There are 21 books in this series. That's the main books and then prequels and spin-offs. A woodsman turned hero wages ideological and magical war against tyrants in a world of prophecy and moral absolutism. Why is it trashy? The author's preachy libertarian rants, graphic torture scenes, and extreme melodrama. And somehow the series has been captivating readers for years. My wife is enjoying the heck out of it right now. Next up, the Undead World series by Peter Meredith. This is a zombie horror post-apocalyptic series. First book came out in 2013. There are 12 in this core series, and then there are spin-offs, a whole nother spin-off series. A couple spin-off series. But this one, a brutal zombie apocalypse saga following survivors as they face flesh eaters and worse, each other. Why is it trashy? Graphic violence, melodrama, and sexual exploitation mixed with zombie chaos in a relentless survival tale. Then I bring to you the Dragonlance Chronicles by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. This is a high fantasy adventure trilogy. First book was released in 1984, Dragons of Autumn Twilight. A trilogy, but then there are dozens of other books in the broader Dragonlance universe. This first opening trilogy, however, a band of adventurers reunites to battle ancient dragons and rediscover lost gods. Why is it trashy? Well, it's straight out of D&D campaign notes, loaded with fantasy tropes, dramatic archetypes, and melodramatic speeches. And yet it's so much fun. Then I bring to you the last one of the glorious ones, the Necroscope series by Brian Lumley. This is horror with a supernatural espionage theme. First book came out in 1986. There are 18 books total. That's the main series and spin-offs. A man who can talk to the dead becomes Earth's weapon against a race of interdimensional vampires. Why is it trashy? Psychic Cold War vampire battles, gore, and melodrama wrapped in 80s pulp horror excess. My kind of thing. But I have three more for you now, and this is a category I call Maximum Trash Overload. Utterly unfiltered, chaotic, pulpy, and proud. These books go so far over the top, they become legendary. The first, the Xanth series by Piers Anthony. Comic fantasy style. First book in 1977 was A Spell for Chameleon. There are 47 books and counting in the series. He's still writing them. A pun-filled fantasy world where magic is commonplace and each person has a unique magical talent. Why is it trashy? Relentless puns, dated humor, especially in the early books, and controversial sexual themes make it beloved and widely mocked in equal measure. Then I bring you Moon Cops on the Moon, a standalone book at this point by C.T. Phipps. Sci-fi satire and definitely humor. This was released in 2022. I do have an episode entirely on this book you can find here on the channel. A satirical space cop saga set on the moon, blending noir, political absurdity, and alien crime. Why does it make my trashy list at such heights? Because it's a purposely ridiculous, tongue-in-cheek novel filled with B-movie dialogue and zany plot turns. I laughed hard. But my final book to make the list here, my final series, is Dungeon Crawler Carl, an ongoing series by Matt Dinneman. There are 7 books out right now, and there's still more to come. It's uncertain exactly how many more. Originally, he was thinking 10, but you never know. This is lit RPG and dark humor fantasy. First book came out in 2020. A man and his cat must survive a sadistic alien reality show dungeon with leveling mechanics and chaos galore. Why is it trashy? Gore, crude humor, meta satire, and video game violence collide in a glorious geek meltdown. So, to conclude, in no way am I bashing the exceptional books of fantasy, sci-fi, and horror that are complex, deep, and profound. Such books can move a reader powerfully, can shift the way you view the world, and can produce feelings and revelations that leave you breathless. But you don't need to feel that those are the only books worth reading. Spending time with trashy books has plenty of value, can keep you motivated for book exploration, and will help you avoid reader burnout. So read what you want and enjoy it to the fullest. Make no apology for liking whatever works for you. Got any thoughts on what I've shared here today? Got any favorite trashy novels from science fiction, fantasy, or horror that you want to give a plug for? Use the comment box. I'd love to see more of these kinds of books. So put your thoughts down there and anything you want to say about what I shared today. I am all eyes because I won't hear you, Okay. Also, look in the show notes for other ways that you can interact with Zach and I, our Discord server, our social media locations, even our Patreon. Thank you to those of you that found us on patreon.com and support us financially every month to keep this content coming out. That's where I'll leave you then. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.